Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're taking a deep, honestly, kind of cinematic journey into the psychological mechanics of exactly how our experiences shape our character. We're going to look right at the delicate architecture of the human mind to figure out why trauma shapes behavior. Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever wondered why one person ends up being exceptionally kind while another turns out just incredibly cold? Like, are people simply born fundamentally different, or does life slowly, inevitably change them? It's a huge question, right? One that bridges psychology and philosophy, and honestly, we see it playing out in literally everyone we meet. Section 1. Born or made: the origins of human behavior. Here's the baseline truth. No one is born a monster. The people who become cruel, angry, or emotionally shut down, they don't arrive in the world with malice. Actually, their behaviors are constructed entirely by the world around them. It's like a building reacting to an earthquake. Which brings us to Section 2, how trauma shapes behavior and the cumulative weight of pain. Think about things like bullying, betrayal, abuse, neglect, or just a fundamental lack of love. These aren't just fleeting, isolated bad days. In psychology, this creates what's known as an allostatic load. Basically, it's a cumulative, heavy weight that stacks up on a person's nervous system over time. It's the relentless repetition of these hardships that literally begins to bend the framework of a person's mind. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is what we call a baseline trust rewrite. When you face repeated hardship, it fundamentally alters your deepest beliefs about safety. So that emotional distance we often see in people, it isn't necessarily some innate badness. It's actually a hidden, deeply ingrained defense mechanism, built by someone who is just trying to navigate a world they've been taught is fundamentally unsafe. You can see how this creates a pretty predictable psychological chain reaction, right? Being trapped in an environment of hardship directly causes a profound loss of trust in others. And once that foundational trust is shattered, it manifests outwardly as anger or extreme distance. It's tragic, absolutely, but it's an entirely logical progression. The environmental trauma is actively rewriting their behavioral code step by step. But let's flip the script for Section 3, the impact of nurture and the power of positive environments. And this brilliantly illustrates the other side of the coin. If trauma can build a monster, what does compassion build? When you contrast rejection and isolation with things like encouragement, compassion, and positive role models, you create a completely different emotional baseline. It just goes to show how healthy human connection actively buffers against the harshness of the world, building empathy instead of just raw self-preservation. Moving on to Section 4, the power of choice and overwriting the past. This brings us to a really vital psychological synthesis. There is absolutely no denying that our past deeply, deeply influences us, but determination dictates that our past does not have to completely dictate our future. Yes, difficult experiences heavily color our baseline, but we aren't just helpless passengers doomed to repeat the pain we were handed. We have a say in the matter. And we know for sure this is true because human history is just full of incredible people actively breaking generational cycles of trauma. We're talking about individuals who endured immense abuse but made the agonizingly difficult yet beautiful decision to become cycle breakers. They chose to offer the compassion they were entirely denied rather than just mirroring the hatred they received. So, the crucial point is this. Difficult experiences can certainly influence people, but they do not completely determine their future. That is the central thesis of human agency right there. You might not be able to control the environment you were born into, but you maintain the absolute power to decide exactly how you respond to it going forward. So before you judge someone's darkness, remember, you may have absolutely no idea about the unseen battles they fought just to survive. When we look at societal behaviors, instead of immediately condemning someone's anger, what if we tried looking through a lens of compassion? It doesn't excuse bad behavior, of course not, but it deeply helps us understand the fractured, hurting human being behind it. Which leaves us with this. No matter what life has done to us, what will you decide to become next? Because as we've seen today, that ultimate choice is always yours. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this gives you a powerful new perspective on the unseen battles being fought around you every single day.